Okay, so this will be a discussion of our Exam 3 practice program. This is a diet tracker for maximum fitness, and it's very similar to the actual exam exercise you'll be asked to do. So let's take a look at some of the behavior here. We have basically a user-driven loop. So think of a dieter wanting to track his or her foods and calories for the day. And that person can enter as many, not as many as they want, but up to 20 foods. So here, for example, the user has entered 5 foods with their calories. And so the user is going to enter the name of the food. Notice that a lot of these foods have spaces, so we're going to have to be mindful of using getLine instead of just straight cin. The calories are just going to be integers, so that can be handled with cin. And then a yes or no to drive that user-driven loop. While they keep saying yes, the loop is going to keep going and keep going. Unless they reach that 20 food maximum, then we're going to cut them off. But for the most part, it's just a user-driven loop. So then once all the foods are entered, we are going to present the user with a little report. Notice we're using set W to line up the columns nicely. Okay, that'll be a fairly easy technique. And here we are presenting the highest calorie food that they ate on that day. And this is an algorithm, the type of thing we can do by looping through the calories array and finding the highest calorie item in there. And finally, also we're adding up all the calories to get the daily calorie total. So getting an accumulation of the calories. Okay, so I am going to start out with some code. I don't have everything in here. We'll just take it little by little, but I said 20 foods maximum, so we'll create a const called max food, and we will create 2 parallel arrays to that value, the max food, okay, 20 elements apiece. And one of them is a string, and that's going to hold the names of the foods, okay? And then in parallel, we have an integer array to hold the calories. And I chose integer because no one really cares about a half a calorie or a fraction of a calorie, so integers are fine for calories. So anyway, there we have it. And then we do have to, because it's a user-driven loop, we do have to keep track of where we are in the arrays. As the user is entering data, we have to increment this current food index. So we're starting it at 0, and first time through, the user enters the first food, and then we're going to increment it to 1 so we can move on to the next pair of elements to put the next food in the next slot in the 2 arrays. So we just need that integer to keep track of where we are in the arrays, and also how many items are in the arrays. Okay, they probably aren't going to enter the full 20 items. So this variable will help us keep track of how many items do we have, how many items has the user entered. And then this is for later. This will be the index of the highest calorie food. Like once we are ready to start looping through and find the highest calorie food, that'll come in handy, that variable. We have the again variable to hold the yes or the no. That's a single character, the Y or the N for yes or no for the user-driven loop. I said later we're going to add up all the calories, so we have the total calories variable. Okay, so those are all the variables we need. I do have the user-driven loop just kind of sketched out a little bit. Obviously there's nothing in it, but you can accomplish this with a do loop. And we'll put all of the statement for the inputting the food in this sandwich here. But let's look at the ending condition. We have a compound condition here. Obviously, we want to keep going while they keep saying yes. All right. But we don't want to allow them to keep going beyond the 20 items. So we have a compound condition here. We're going to keep going, keep looping, keep asking for foods while they keep saying yes, as in yes, there are more foods. And we're still below that max food of 20 items, that max food value of 20 items. Okay, so this is the condition to keep that user-driven loop going, obviously the user's wishes, but also, we are capping them off at 20, so we have to add that as well. Okay, I think I'm going to move on to a next video so this one doesn't get too long.